Welcome to Real Conversations, exploring the meaning behind the music. Hi, I'm Robert Brzezinski.
And I'm Jeannie Kataoka. And together, we're having real conversations with your favorite New Thought artists.
Join us as we take a deep dive into the inspiration and meaning behind the music of New Thought. Our guests are ready to share stories from their spiritual journey and creative process with you.
Real Conversations is a chance to look behind the curtain and connect with your favorite New Thought artists.
So let's dive right in. Real Conversations, exploring the meaning behind the music. And hello again, dear ones. Robert Brzezinski with you here today. And this is another episode of Real Conversations, a chance where we get to go a little bit deeper and look a little bit more behind the meaning and the message behind the music. Today, I am so very grateful. I have a dear friend with me, Lisa Bell. She's out of Boulder, Colorado. And Lisa and I have been bumping into each other and sharing on projects and working together for a number of years now on a number of things. It's been a little while, so we're going to talk about her new album and what she's got going on there, because this is a really cool album. I've been listening to it a lot in the last week, and I want you to know, I think it's really cool. So we're going to share a whole bunch of music from that. But before that, I just want to get into saying hello and welcome Lisa to the show. And Lisa, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you find your voice? When was it that you knew, hey, I'm here to be a singer, and my path in life is to share this music with people, this music that's inside me? How'd that all come about?
I think it started when I was 13, actually, at summer camp, and a girl sitting next to me said, "Wow, you've got a really good voice." We were sitting around the campfire singing "You've Got a Friend" or something. And I hadn't ever really even thought about it until that point. But right when she said it, that set me on my path. I was in a great music program in high school. I went to college at a conservatory of music. And really, music has been such an important part of my life ever since then. And for the last 20 years, I've been a professional singer-songwriter, and that has led me to a positive music bent in what I'm doing as well. And I've been doing that for about 15 years. So it's been quite a journey.
Yes, definitely quite a journey. And this is not, we're going to talk mostly about your new album, Backseat, today, but this is not your first album. You started ways back. The first album was Dare to Be, and you've got other albums in your repertoire. There's the Italian project, Dancing on the Moon, and now here also this one. So I'd like to share a little bit. One of your very earlier songs is, for me, it's called It's All About Love. And I want to share a snippet of that with the audience. So let's listen to about a minute and a half here of It's All About Love and catch the feel for this song. And then we'll be right back. So listen to this, folks. Here we go. It's All About Love by Lisa Bell.
The way they do. Moods and melancholy. Maybe they don't really care. Baby, you and I have never been there. It's not the finer things in life. It's not the fortune that they share. It's something that comes from the sky above, the sky above. Baby, it's all about love. Someone said to me, sitting in this old cafe, open your heart, not just your eyes.
Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful song. Lisa, please share with us a little bit. What's that really all about? Where's that come from as an artist?
That was the last song to be written on that album, which is album number 2, called It's All About Love. And I was working with a producer at the time, and he actually came up with that phrase and part of the hook there. And so I took it, and I was walking on the beach in Florida, and was just wandering around and looking at all of the people around me and all of the things, and realizing that no matter what we have physically in life, whether we're rich or poor, or have a lot of possessions or not, really the only thing that's important is the love in our lives. And so that's where that came from. And it was really was one of the first positive music songs that I had come up with.
Gotcha. I think I love the music. I love the message. And this is, for me, one of the places where I fell in love with you as an artist, where I got to really, I felt like this album opened up a whole new horizon, or at least from my perspective. And then you followed this with what I think is an even greater album, Dancing on the Moon. Mm-hmm. And we're going to hear 2 tracks from this album. I want to listen to a little bit of Dancing on the Moon, and then after that we'll hear a little bit of Better Days. But share with us just a little bit. How did Dancing on the Moon come about? What was your creative process in conceiving a new album and putting together a collection of songs? And how is it that Dancing on the Moon becomes the title and the lead versus some of the other great pieces of music that are on this album?
Right. So Dancing on the Moon was that particular song was actually written by the producer of the album, Mark Oblinger, and he is one of my dear friends. He co-wrote a bunch of songs on that album, and he had that one not being used by anyone, and I fell in love with that song, and so I decided to take that and make it mine. And he really produced such an interesting, that was kind of a transitional album for me from a more jazzy oriented bent to much more of an Americana look. And so that was pretty much a big transitional album for me. It was also recorded in A424, which so the normal tuning is A440, 440 megahertz, but this was 424. It's supposed to speak to the heart as well as the entire body. And so it was a huge experiment. And I was performing that entire album that year in A424 also. And it's really very different. So if you play the songs on that album next to something else, they really sound very, very different. They're, tuned down quite a bit. So it's quite interesting.
And I will say, I have had this music move me at the heart level for sure. You say it was an experiment. How's the feedback been? The album's been out for a while now. You've performed these songs. Have people reported back to you that they have that type of connection to the music?
Yes. And I think that it helped to get a new audience, and it helped to bring people into the music a little bit more. I did abandon that tuning after that album. It's quite difficult to make sure that everything is in that tuning, especially if you're working with, like, you can't work with live piano, for example, a real piano, grand piano. You can only use a synthesizer because you can't tune it. But it was, hey, artistic expression and experimentation are alive and well, and that was something that I really felt strongly about at that time. And the other thing that led me to was a whole career and work in sound healing. And so that is something that I've also practiced ever since that album. So sound healing has been a big part of my life as well.
Wonderful. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Well, let's take a listen, folks. This is Dancing on the Moon by Lisa Bell.
Oh, hey. If you're selling what you're feeling, well, I know 'cause love's been dealing you a long time. And it's got you on a string like a puppet with no wings and no place to fly. You were just a soul that needed something more than love that's cheated, something more than lies. And now you're dancing in my head, filling up this empty bed with more than alibis. I heard about you in the corner of my mind. I heard about you, and I just can't seem to face with all these feelings can't deny. I could dream without you. I could find the truth, but I can't fly or touch your sky too soon. When you're dancing on the moon, yeah.
All right. And perhaps you're able to notice and feel that different tuning that Lisa was talking about before we played that clip. I want to continue on this album and talk a little bit about Better Days as well. So let's let everybody hear just a little clip of another song from the album Dancing on the Moon. This is Lisa Bell and Better Days.
Take me onto your magic carpet. Take me up to the silver lining. Take me onto the sweeter side of better days, better days. You and I were close, but I wonder as to most, our love will stand the test of time. I've got a feeling that we'll be fine. Take me onto your magic carpet. Take me up to the silver lining. Take me onto the sweeter side of better days, better days.
Oh, and I just love that one. That's one of my get up and move kind of. Tell us a little bit about this song as well, Lisa, please.
So it was actually written on a very cold and wintry day, and the streets were full of ice and snow, and I was just looking for a release from that. And what it ended up being is kind of an ode to any trouble that you have in your life, and looking for a release, looking for a way to find that silver lining, to find the sun, as it were, to melt the problems away. And so that is what that song ended up being.
Yeah, gotcha. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. One of the things that this program, Real Conversations, is centered around is asking artists to take a look at and share with us how their spiritual journey, their personal inner journey has reflected, been mirrored, and been presented through the music. And various artists do that in various ways. And I'd love, if you're willing to dig in a little bit deeper, you move from this album where you're sharing with us, you're experimenting, and then it's a couple of years, and you bring forth the Italian project. How does that span of your career align with your own personal journey of discovery, of enlightenment, if you will?
Sure. So the Italian project was a very, very special album to me. I, in 2008, had a vision board party on New Year's Eve. And I created a vision board that had me singing in the middle and a whole bunch of different countries touching my head, as it were.
Yeah.
And the one that was closest was Italy. I really, really wanted to perform overseas and make that happen. So fast forward 2 weeks later, I'm on Facebook and I see that a friend request from a person I knew in high school, and her name's also Lisa Simmons. And I look at her profile and she has recording studio headphones on. And I thought, well, that's super interesting. So I explore a little bit more. I accept her friendship. And it turns out she lives in Italy. I'd gone to high school with her, but didn't really know her at all. I'd been in a musical with her. That was about the extent of it. And so it turns out she lives in Italy and has an original music band there. And so we started talking, and we were both working on new albums at the time. So I was working on Dancing on the Moon, actually, right then. And she wanted to come to visit the U.S. Her family still lived in Boulder. She hadn't been here in 20 years. So I said, I will help you bring your band over and put together a tour if you will do the same for me in Italy. And so we did that, and just really fell in love with each other. And she continues today to be one of my very best friends. And we have gone back and forth from Italy and the US. She's come here several times. I've gone there several times. And the Italian project was written with Lisa Simmons. And we got together every Friday morning by Skype and did a songwriting session. And wrote the album over about a 9-month period of time. And that was after I'd already been there to perform. And then we did it again. And it was just it's been an amazing back and forth collaboration. Half of the artists were from Italy, the other half were from the US. And so we flew tracks back and forth, and it was a wild, elaborate process. And we continue to share great collaboration efforts today.
Wow. What an amazing story. I love that. The power of the universe in action, the law of attraction in action, and a wonderfully fun, creative New Year's Eve vision board leads to international touring and a great collaboration and a really fabulous album, folks. I really want you to know this. The Italian project's just filled with great music, and I wish I could pick, I wish we could play the whole album for you here, but that's not what this show is about. But I do want to share a couple of clips with you from this great collection of songs. Let's listen first to Bring the Love by Lisa Bell from the Italian project.
Baby came over bringing rice and beans, gave me sweet, sweet love and saying pretty please. Honey, show me what it takes to see. I looked hard and long, worked all my days, searched high and low for any way to bring my world some peace, serenity. I said, bring the love, bring the love. Bring the love, bring the love. What you bring to the table is what you eat. You gotta give your best when you take that seat.
All right. Well, that gets the blood pumping a little bit. Tell us a little more about that song.
I wrote that song really thinking about my son and teaching him about life. You know, bring the love. What you bring to the table is what you are going to. What you bring to the table in life is what you are going to eat and attract and work with. So you have to bring it with love at every pass.
Yeah, definitely. As I listen to your catalog of music, from my perspective, I can see and watch the evolution of, again, your journey, your spiritual journey, and your journey through enlightenment in sharing such deep, meaningful messages in a very, in my opinion, very approachable way. Your music's not it's not preachy. It's not. It feels very natural, very fluid, and very much about the relationships that are happening in your life. It feels like there's a real transparency when I listen to your music.
Yeah, and I would say not all of it is autobiographical. So there's a lot of songs on that album that really aren't autobiographical. They're about different things that we brought to the table when we were doing our songwriting sessions. You know, everything from online dating, which I've not had that much experience in, and to Quilt, which is really about an incident that happened in an Italian subway system. So there's a lot of things, you know, and a lot of beautiful stories, and not all of the music is autobiographical.
Yeah, gotcha. Right on. So, which leads me to the other song I want to feature from this album. Now, if I remember correctly, this is the song that got you noticed in the Posse Music Award arena, if I'm right. And I remember there's a great video for it. You can find this on YouTube, folks. The song is called Walk With Me. Before we listen to it, would you share a little bit of why that song made the video? What was special for you about that song?
My dogs at the time were, I had this dog named Kona, who was they were both rescue dogs, but he was a very special dog. So he picked me in the shelter. I kept coming back to see him. He kept being there. 3 weeks later, I finally was like, okay, you must be waiting for me, so I must get you. We had another dog at home, and it turned out that Kona liked to take the other dog for a walk with his leash in his mouth. And so when it came time to make this album, I had this brilliant idea one morning of making a song about that trick. And I had it all envisioned out. I spoke it out loud. I talked to Lisa and Bob Story, who was writing the album with us. And I said, look, we're going to write this song. I'm going to make a video. It's going to take us a little bit, but we're going to do all 4 seasons of them walking each other. And it's going to be the coolest video. We're going to write this song, and it's going to get us on Good Morning America. I see it, I'm envisioning it, and then all of the proceeds for the video that is going to happen I'm going to donate that to Humane Society shelters across the country, and on and on and on. And I had this big, huge, lofty goal for it. So we wrote the song. I made the video. It was a nominee for the Positive Music Awards, as you mentioned. And lo and behold, I applied for the Good Morning America. I think it was called Silly Dog Tricks or something like that. I knew the day that the producer was supposed to call. And I got a phone call almost at the exact time that I thought I would from the producer that said we were one of the 4 finalists. So the dog at that point in time was getting older. He had a degenerative disease that was not making him feel very good. So instead of flying to New York or making arrangements for that, we had to start driving. So we drove halfway to my husband's parents' house in St. Louis. And the next morning were the semifinals, when we would know if we would proceed to the finals in New York or not. I worked as hard as I could that day to get enough votes. The voting was very funky, and ultimately Kona did not get on the finals. But we got our video shown on Good Morning America, so the manifestation really did happen. And what I discovered in the process, when we got to St. Louis and to his parents' house, we discovered that his parents' health was really failing, and that they had the beginnings of dementia. And we didn't really understand how critical that was, and the importance of us being there until we basically were stuck there. And we were brought there, we were pulled there by what we thought was, a fun trip to New York, but it really ended up being about family and about love again. And the true gift was the gift of being able to spend time with them when they were still coherent. Yeah. It wasn't a year later when they both did not remember who anybody was anymore.
Right.
So it was a beautiful journey, and gosh, maybe the entire manifestation was all about that. But sometimes the gift comes in very interesting ways.
Yes. The universe is always giving us exactly what's necessary for our evolution, for our growth, and to bring us into a fuller expression of life. And that's a wonderful story. And yeah, perhaps exactly that. The whole thing, and Kona was there, and the whole series is there to, again, reinforce the relationships that knowing you, I know, are so important to you, with your husband's parents, with Kona, with everybody. So wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
So let's give a listen to Walk With Me by Lisa Bell.
You're always playing hard to get, forever hanging out with the wildest set. You know me, baby, I've always got your back. I'll help navigate and keep you on the right track. Walk with me, be my honeybee. Let's be wild and free. Love, I got the key, just walk with me. We'll see the sunrise and see it set. Jump in our favorite lake and get all wet. Leave our shadows behind, just you and me. Imagine what we'll find. Oh yeah, walk with me, be my honeybee. Let's be wild and free. Love, I got the key, just walk with me.
And, folks, we're having this great conversation with a wonderful artist, Lisa Bell. She's based out of Boulder, Colorado. You can catch all of her music on lisabelmusic.com, and I'll put the link to that in the show notes and all that. But what we really want to dive into today is, it's been a little while since you've had a new album out. Now, I remember you were when you went away to write this album, when you went into the mountains and disconnected from social media. I saw you doing that on Facebook and stuff, and went to write it. And now getting to immerse myself and listen to it and really absorb what you're bringing forth as an artist, as a being, as a spiritual being on the planet. This is a great and amazing album. And I wanted to just read one little thing here. This is from lisabelmusic.com. This is the website. A diverse Americana artist with jazz influences, Lisabel shifts gears with her fifth release, Backseat. It's the most potent album of the singer-songwriter's career, nodding to the influences that have helped to sharpen her own sound, including laid-back R&B, melodic soul, and Americana roots music, while also pushing into contemporary AAA-friendly territory. Gluing the mix together are Belle's expressive voice and ever-evolving writing chops, which combine to tell the story of an empty nester who, having spent years raising her children, is ready to climb back into the driver's seat and chase down new dreams. Okay, I gotta ask, what are the new dreams?
Well, I am not done yet. I am ready to continue this journey. The last 6 years were all about in between the two album releases. The Italian project was a very long 6 years ago when it was released. And in between that time, I did a lot of experimenting around with being in bands, being in different iterations of me in different shows. But I really needed to find my voice. And until this album, I had never written a large body of work by myself. I had always thought that my playing skills, my musical skills, were not great enough to be able to actually write everything myself. And aside from the title track, Backseat, which was co-written with my friend Andy Ard, the 11 other songs on this album were completely written by me. And so that is the new journey. The new journey is my music, and it's my voice, and bringing it in a huge way to the world. I really feel like this is the catalyst to get me out to new people, new markets. This is the first time I've done a big publicity and radio campaign for an album, and I'm just ready to rock it. The kids are all out of the house. The song Backseat is actually about that, being an empty nester for the first time, and realizing that in your middle age, it's not too late to completely continue to follow your dreams.
Yeah. All right. Well, I couldn't do a better job of introducing the song, so let's listen to it, folks. Here it is, Backseat by Lisabel.
20 years gone by, it went so fast, I don't know how. It's time to watch you fly. Nest is empty now. Put off believing in me while I watch my babies thrive. Such a beautiful sight to see, but once again it's my time to drive. I'm not willing to take a back seat while my dreams pass me by. Though the ties of obligation have kept me safe here for some time, I find all the inspiration that I haven't seen for miles was giving me
Oh, what a great song. And it's a, in my opinion, it's a great way to lead off this album, because there's a collection of songs here that, from my perspective, are really telling a story. Now, I don't want to give away everything, and I want people to go buy the album and go download this, folks, because there's more here than we're going to share with you today. But let's talk a little bit more. The Road is Always Longer. This is another one that's just kind of grabbing at me. Tell us a little bit about what we're going to hear here.
Phrase, the road is always longer when you're looking for the end, came from actually a sound healing retreat that I did last summer. And it was early, every morning at 5:30 in the morning, I would get up and go for a run in these amazing woods in the Pacific Northwest. And I was on this one trail, and I kept thinking, when's it going to end? When's it going to end? And I got to get back for class. And I was like, wow, yeah, the road is always longer when you're looking for the end. It's really about being in the moment. The other phrase, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, if those lessons we befriend. Right before I did the second writing retreat, I fell on a hike literally the day before and really messed up my knee. Had to have many stitches in the ER. And I had to figure out a way to drive myself to said retreat. And I was on crutches, and I couldn't go for beautiful hikes in the wilderness. I was really forced to go deep and to look inside, to really reflect on what do I truly want to say here. And it's just me in this cabin. I wrote the album over 2 summers in a off-grid cabin in the woods. And I have to say that the second year's worth of songs got pretty deep and dark at some points in time. And this song was written in that second batch, but it's definitely a more upbeat look at just being present in the moment, looking at, what is being injured trying to tell you, what, slow down, be with your hard emotions, really dig deep. So, yeah.
Let's give it a listen. This is The Road is Always Longer.
Searching for the black and white, we're missing all the hues. Exits of the space of light, though rarely do we choose. Caught up in the moment, is it right or is it wrong? If we focus on the present, we find the place where we belong. The road is always longer when we're searching for the end. One doesn't kill us, it makes us stronger. If those lessons we befriend. The past is not the future, can't define us, don't you know? So let it go, let it slide. Keep on grooving on the inside.
Yeah. Oh, I hear all that you've been sharing in that song. Again, another great song. I keep gushing, folks. I keep gushing over this album, and I want you to know, because I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the selection. I'm impressed with the I don't want to say variety, the breadth of what you're writing about. And you said that in your introduction to The Road is Always Longer, that life isn't always the easiest thing. And the next song I want to feature, Always Chasing the Darkness, that speaks to a little bit of a more difficult portion of the journey. And so share with us a little bit about that, the deeper meaning behind Always Chasing Darkness.
Yeah, I think a lot of people deal with depression, and that is truly what this is about. We all have depression of of some sort now and again. And nobody really wants to talk about it. It's not something you're supposed to tell anyone. I have good friends that are, some of them are very much, very struggling with depression, and they're locked in their rooms oftentimes. And the always chasing darkness, or is it chasing me? It's referring to that really dark cloud that seems to follow some people more than others. But I think we can all relate to that feeling that we're not good enough. But we've got to get past that. But that is what Always Chasing Darkness is about.
Yeah. There is that piece that says there's something out there. It does get better. It will get better.
Yeah, exactly. It does get better. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and whether you want to think of that light as spirit or God or another person, it's up to the listener to interpret that, knowing that it's okay. You can make it through another day.
Yeah.
So let's hear a quick taste of Always Chasing Darkness by Lisa Bell.
Disconnected nights, the moonlight stands fade. Shutters drawn upon the words I cannot say. Seems the light of day will never be here. But dawn is breaking, time to face another fear. And it's okay. It's time to live another day. Yeah, it's alright. I'll push past the lonely night with your light, with your light, with your light. Seems like I'm always chasing darkness, a shadow I can't see. Always chasing darkness, or is it chasing me? Always chasing darkness, a shadow I can't see. Always chasing darkness, or is it chasing?
So the last song I want to feature here today, and it's the final song on the album, so it's the closing song. Now, my experience has been in with so many musicians, a lot of albums, they get the title song out there, and it's something that really grabs. But for me, I always like to listen to the last song right away as well. I will often look at what's the last song on an album. And sometimes it's artists that just throw something in there they didn't expect, or something that showed up at the last minute. Sometimes it really is the punctuation on a message, on a bigger project. Meet Me in the Space Between, an intriguing title, and a more intriguing song. And so I'd love to hear a little bit of your creative process. How did this song come to be, and how does it end up being the closing piece to what I am calling just an amazing album?
Again, back to the sound healing retreat I did last summer. We had done every day, we did 2 and 3 different intense meditation sessions. And toward the end, we were all really feeling like we could pierce the veil, as it were, and get to that space between. And that's how I like to describe it, the space between this earth reality and the reality beyond. So the space between really refers to that ethereal, meditative space where we can transcend what is our current reality and envision something bigger for ourselves. The song talks a lot about, we all have daydreams of what our life could be, but when we strap ourselves to our current reality and to our physical reality here on Earth, then oftentimes we can't make those happen. Can't move without a safety net. If there's a way, I can't see it yet. And it's not necessarily what I believe, but what some of the people around me believe. Oftentimes I'm ready to dive off the cliff without a parachute, but someone else is not. It's all about looking at life through a different vision from that space between. So it's kind of a calling to those around me to, hey, meet me in that space between, where words are just formalities, where we can learn to trust the voice within and dive off the cliff with me.
Beautiful. Let's listen to a piece of this amazing song, Meet Me in the Space Between by Lisa Bell. Enjoy.
Daydreams all around us, but those ways and means still confound us. Can't move without a safety net. If there's a way, can't see it yet. Lost among the things as we get older, while our passions slowly start to smolder. We can make it past the fear, but we've gotta take the time to make it clear. Meet me in the space between, where words are just formalities, where we can learn to trust the voice within. Meet me where the worlds collide, where the fragile veil is cast aside, so we can see the future coming in.
Well, all right, dear ones, I'm looking at that clock on the wall that says we've only got a little bit of time left, and I have so been enjoying our conversation here with Lisa Bell. That was Meet Me in the Space Between from her new album, Backseat. And remember, you can pick up all of Lisa's music over at her website, lisabellmusic.com, and I'll put the links to your site down in the show notes there, so you can get them there as well. But Lisa, we've got a couple of kind of traditional questions we ask artists, and we don't tell them about it because we like to get an honest and kind of authentic reaction. The first is usually, what's in your future? And that seems like a kind of a silly question to ask you at the moment, because your future seems to be your immediate experience. I know you're in the middle of this release of this new album, and that this is, I'm sure, taking up a huge amount of your time and attention. And has Spirit given you a little wink or a nudge as to what might be beyond just this album?
I'm still waiting for the wink and nudge. As you said, it's been pretty all-encompassing to get this album launched. I think by the time this airs, it will be out and available for streaming everywhere, and physical copies. And yeah, you can go to my website to find that out. I've got a bunch of shows coming up mostly in Colorado. And I'm starting to get back out to the Center for Spiritual Living in Unity Church circuit once again. So I'll be in Boise, Idaho, and Anchorage, Alaska, and all sorts of fun places. Back to the Positive Music, the Empower conference in April, and looking forward to getting back into that realm again.
Yeah, wonderful. So it sounds like the music is revealing a bit of the future, which is great. We love that. And that also, what I hear in there is I don't have to wait very long to catch you live somewhere and hear your music. And there's also a piece of spirit that's saying, yeah, there'll be another album. It won't be 6 years before the next album either. So we'll see how that all goes for you. Please know you're always welcome here. We'd always love to have you back on the program. Before we let you go, though, however, the question as a parent, and I know you've been a parent, the question that parents never want to hear, and so I've twisted this onto artists. If you had to pick, what's your favorite song of your own?
My favorite song of my own. I actually really love The Road Is Always Longer. I think that is my current favorite song.
All right.
It's fun. It's kind of upbeat, and it's got a good groove.
All right. Well, then we will conclude our interview today. We'll wrap up with a bit more of The Road Is Always Longer. But before we do that, I want to say again and again, thank you, Lisa, for being with us today. This is Real Conversations, and the idea is to get behind just the topical aspect of the music, but get to the deeper meaning. And I really appreciate that you've been willing to share those deeper meanings and share a bit of your own personal journey, knowing that not all your music is autobiographical. We really appreciate you sharing your music with us today. So I hope you'll come back sometime.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, folks, let's wrap this up. We'll listen to a bit more of The Road Is Always Longer by Lisa Bell. This is Real Conversations. We'll look forward to having you join us again next time here on the New Thought Media Network. Until then, peace and blessings. Go forth and boogie.
Searching for the black and white, but missing all the hues. Exits of the space and light, though rarely do we choose. Caught up in the moment, is it right or is it wrong? If we focus on the present, we find the place where we belong. The road is always longer when we're searching for the end. One doesn't kill us, it makes us stronger. If those lessons we befriend. The past is not the future, can't define us, don't you know? So let it go, let it slide. Keep on grooving on the inside.
Thank you for listening to Real Conversations, exploring the meaning behind the music. Real Conversations is produced by the New Thought Radio Network, sharing a vibration of love, positivity, and empowerment through a variety of media streams. Learn more on the web at newthoughtmedianetwork.org. Listen to past episodes of Real Conversations on the podcast page at newthoughtradio.net. Until next time, peace and blessings. Go forth and prosper.